At the start of this year, the Valley lost a leader in the faith community, Father Stephen Popovich. He shared his teachings at St. James in Warren, Immaculate Heart of Mary in Austintown, and St. Paul's in New Middletown. That's just to name a few. And he also was an assistant principal at Cardinal Mooney. Then in 2013, you may recall, he was in a serious car accident, paralyzing him from the waist down. But that did not stop him in his life. He continued to minister and celebrate Mass at various parishes up until he passed away at the age of 69 in mid-January. Father Popovich's sister spent a lot of time visiting with him after his accident. In fact, he had so much to share and wisdom to pass on through stories, she decided to start to write them down, and now they are featured in a book. Margie Cretella, Popovich's sister, joins me now to share more about this. Thank you for coming in on 21 News at 5 to join me.
Thank you so much for having me, Lindsay.
Absolutely. You brought the book with you. You're a former preschool teacher, so you have experience, writing stories and telling stories. So, tell us about your book and, what it means to you.
Well, being a preschool teacher, I read a lot of short stories, and it was a lot of short conversations because all the kids were 5 years old, so it was kind of easy to write the books. I just wanted to write about short stories about them. I actually started by just journaling and writing to myself because I was going to keep it to myself, and then people said, oh, I want to read about what you're writing about, and that's how it ended up getting published.
And the title is Have You Seen My Brother? What is your favorite story in the book?
Probably, there's a lot, but I think my favorite one might be about The Chosen, because he absolutely loved watching The Chosen. He would call us in and watch the movies, and when you watched the movies with him, you weren't allowed to talk. You couldn't eat anything that was crunchy or made noise. You had to be nice and quiet, because he almost focused like he almost had eye contact with Jesus. And he wore his chosen hat all the time. In fact, he wore it in the hospital, and it was in his casket, and when they buried him, before they closed the casket, they actually put his chosen head on him and let him go with it, because it was what he wanted to teach the world about the movie and the book, and for everybody to be, get involved in it and read it and love it as much as he did.
That's such a special memento to have with you.
It is, yes.
Now, he passed away in January, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm wondering what he taught you about grieving the loss of a loved one, and how you've used that throughout your journey, and maybe what you shared in the book.
He taught me how to live with dignity, and he taught me how to die with dignity. But I'd sit there and I'm thinking, you never taught me how to live without you. What am I going to do? But, I thought about it, and I'm thinking, if I just live a faith-filled life like he did, and teach the world about the Lord and be like a fisher of God, and spread the faith, I would be able to live without him and spread his word. I mean, he taught me how to be mindful and appreciate the day. He told me to have faith that would move mountains. And, I had the word faith tattooed on my wrist with an S behind it, too.
Oh, yes, that's beautiful.
To remind me every day and all day long to have the same faith Father Steve had. And just he enjoyed the very simple things in life, and that's what he taught me. He taught me more about faith and family and love and God. The accident happened when I was 60 years old, and between 60 and 70 years old, in those 10 years, I learned more about all of those than I did my whole life.
Oh, wow. And you have that physical reminder.
I do.
For families, though, and, individuals of faith who are going through their busy daily lives, I mean, there's so much going on. What did he mention that was really a lesson that was maybe overreaching to help people remind them of the faith that they have, even as their daily lives go on?
I read on a T-shirt, and there was a saying, it says, God is still writing your story. Don't steal the pen, trust the author. And that's kind of how he lived. And he lived till January 14th at 2:48 and let God write his story to the very end and never, ever question him. He'd go in for surgery and come out and say, Marge, it's whatever. Let's see what he's going to do with this one. And that's how he lived his life. And that's kind of what I would like to spread to people, to just let God be your, he's your author. Let him write your story. He's writing it. Don't try to change it. If I would have changed so many chapters in the last few years, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Oh, I'm so thankful that you were able to share this story. And where can people get it if they'd like a copy?
Okay, it's at St. Paul's Books and Gifts on 224, Leanna's Bookstore, Amazon, Barnes & Noble online, or Barnes & Noble Bookstore.
Yeah, and it's being received very well, so make sure you get your own copy. I really appreciate you joining me right here at 5. This is such an inspiring story, and he was such an inspiring person.
Thank you so much.